they keep talking about libertarian economics and free trade, but it's not fair. And we've wiped out these whole communities of working people. And it's like the Wall Street Journal. Everything they wrote about him was untrue in March. They said we're going to be in a recession, prices are going to go up, he's destroying trade, GDP is going to go down, income's going to go down. And you see the April report, he halved the trade deficit from 160 billion to 80. We have the lowest inflation in 4 years. Personal income's up, personal savings is up, energy costs are down. And it's because he's trying to think of ways to help the middle rather than just the Republican standard orthodoxy of, kind of trickle down. And so he's trying to address all of these things that allowed the progressives to be powerful. And one of them is he said, we were easily caricatured as a party of the golf course and wealthy, and I'm going to transform the party into a national workers' party. And I'm going to tell a Mexican-American guy in Fresno, you have more in common with your white truck driver than the white truck driver does with a Stanford professor, or you do with a Hispanic anchor woman. And that's what he did. And it was a revolution, and I think they still haven't seen what hit them.
So we've got Victor Davis Hanson here with Jillian Michaels on her show, I believe, or maybe this was the show that was created to counter The View. I don't remember. I don't know where that actually ended up, but he's laying it out. LEA says he halved the trade deficit from 160 billion to 80. He being President Trump. We have the lowest inflation in 4 years. Personal income is up. Personal savings is up. Energy costs are down. And it's because he's trying to think of ways to help the middle, which I don't think that this is really any surprise to you folks here. You've been following along. You guys get it. You understand it. But it is a transition, a segue from this introduction to someone else. Someone else who's not trying to think of ways to help the middle, but instead only trying to find ways to help himself. And that's Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, I think Candace Owens yesterday said that President Trump fractured his base after going after Tucker Carlson, but perhaps maybe Tucker and Candace are on the same gravy train, or theoretically they think they are, by going against the president and then, obviously to line their own pockets. And Ted Cruz absolutely bodies Tucker Carlson here with his post. And it says, Ted Cruz says, I did a long interview with Tucker. He released a snippet playing a gotcha on the population of Iran. I declined to play that silly game. Watch the full 2-hour interview where Tucker attacks Trump, attacks the AIPAC lobby, and falsely claims Iran is not trying to assassinate Trump. Ted Cruz on Iran, full interview tomorrow. And I got to look, AIPAC. I don't know what that one is. So I'm going to ask Grok, what is the AIPAC? And the AIPAC is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Okay, got it. Okay. See, look, here's the deal, folks. Tucker Carlson doing this and playing this game, and whether it's not him specifically, but his team and his directors and his producers, that's fucked up. That's fucked up, because this isn't necessarily about bringing context or clarity or additional information. It's about leveraging the opportunity and the influence with means of going viral to ultimately put the money into their pockets and creating snippets and gotchas and hot takes just to put butts in the seats or just to get clicks and views. And I think that's entirely fucked up. I think it's entirely fucked up. I think it makes Tucker Carlson no better than these paid protesters here. Kate says that old lady in the white hat is actually named Karen. And I can't remember her last name, but she is a contract protester, and she pops up in all the protests nationwide. Something should be done about her. She's a lunatic, but more importantly, she's an opportunist, and that's how she makes her money. That's how she makes her money, And I have to lump Tucker Carlson into the same category as Laura Loomer shares this bombshell and says, here's the screenshot from the FARA documents filled out this year that proves Qatar paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for an interview between Tucker Carlson and the Prime Minister of Qatar, the same Qatar which funds Hamas, regarding the war with Iran. This was a paid propaganda piece in which over $200,000 was paid by the embassy of the state of Qatar for Tucker to interview a Qatari official, all while knowing Hamas is an Iranian proxy and funded by Qatar. Qatar funds Islamic terror all around the world, and they think that they can just pay everyone off to make them turn a blind eye. The Qataris are global funders of Islamic terrorism, and their money has been used to murder American citizens. These are not good people. Tucker Carlson wants you to think his thoughts on Iran are based and original, but he's literally participating in paid for interviews by the Qataris who are funding and providing penthouses and luxury lifestyles to the leaders of Hamas and DOHA. Tucker should just be honest that he's a mouthpiece for genocidal Muslims, and his media company was literally funded by a Muslim investor who is half Pakistani and half Iranian and who spends a lot of time in Qatar. And trust me when I say a lot of people in pro-Trump circles are very uncomfortable with this, and Tucker is controlled by Muslims. People need to wake up and stop pretending like this is a conspiracy theory. Qatar and Iran are buying off conservative podcasters to push pro-Islamist, anti-American, and anti-Israel talking points to undermine President Trump. Yeah. There's that. You can check that out. I'll put it up on the screen if you want to see it. And, I just want you guys to be aware. I want you guys to know, or at least the truth, as best as I can tell, have these facts and this information available. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know. There's three sides to every story. This is a game of 5D chess. And, the players involved are far more sophisticated than the likes of Joe Biden or Barack Obama, even, who sent Iran billions of dollars in cash one night before he left the White House. Go figure. Oh, yeah. And then we've got Netanyahu saying that Barack Obama is, in fact, he is, in fact, who the Iranians are siding with or working with in this giant conspiracy, folks. And this is just the beginning. Stay tuned. Stay locked in for more.